Call our meeting for this evening. That we have only one item on the agenda, and that is the zoning base continuance on 96 Ajuman E. Safi. And that's a variation to reduce the minimum interior side yard setbacks from 40 feet to 20 feet for the construction of two proposed parking lots. We concluded the substance of the case at our prior hearing on January 18th, 2024. But there were some incidental items that needed to be clarified. I thought there was enough changes perhaps to the site plan that we should benefit by a follow-up public hearing. All the members of the zoning board are present this evening, with the exception of Zane Rahman, who I will recognize. And so the rules are, Zane, you're appearing by Zoom, so you have a business circumstance or something that requires you to appear by Zoom.
Yeah, that's correct, Chairman. I'm joining via Zoom due to work conflict.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Then I'll call upon Ms. West to begin the presentation. I don't know, we have new exhibits. You can introduce them during the course of your presentation, or you can introduce them now.
Why don't I introduce them now?
Okay, just
So
identify
we have
them.
3 new exhibits. Exhibit 5 is the grading and parking exhibit. Exhibit 6 is the impervious area exhibit. And exhibit 7 is the photometric plan.
Okay, if I recall correctly, there was some discussion about lighting and
That's correct.
intrusion to the neighbors. Will that be resolved by your parking exhibit, your new parking exhibit?
And the impervious area exhibit.
Okay, great. Go right ahead then.
Okay, thank you. Good evening. My name is Kathleen West of the law firm of Donahue, Holbein, West Gensler Law. And our law firm represents the Mosque Ajmin ASC. The mosque is proposing to construct additional parking on its site. This new parking requires a variation to reduce the side yard setbacks from 40 feet to 20 feet. At the public hearing on January 18, 2024, several neighbors expressed concerns with the current operation of the mosque and the proposed construction of additional parking. These concerns related to parking lot lighting, car lights, and grading as relative to stormwater management. The mosque understands that these concerns relate to site design and not necessarily to the impact of the requested setback variations. The mosque also understands that these site design issues will be reviewed by the county staff during the building permit review process. However, the mosque wants to be a good neighbor. So in the past month, the mosque has talked with some of its neighbors and has revised its site plan. The mosque hopes that it has addressed the neighbors' concerns. I would ask that the engineer, Arimas Sukches, explain the changes that have been made.
Okay, how many other witnesses we have?
Just the two of us.
Just, okay, well then, let's have you be sworn in. That both of you, that last statement is just an opening statement. So be sworn in for any testimony you want to give.
You do solemnly swear and affirm the testimony you're about to give or have given is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God.
Yes. I'll hold it up.
I can put up. Thank you. I think one question is, do we try to face camera, the exhibit, or for the board member that's?
Can't hear you.
Forward. Which way should we?
Should we try to
face?
face camera?
Because,
So
Mr. Brown,
Well, we have to all see it, so maybe if
Yeah,
you
but
step
We
back
have it.
just a little bit.
He doesn't have to accept it, does he?
He's gonna point to things,
Okay.
Janice, so let us try to manage this. Yeah, okay, can you see it, Zane?
Yes, I can see it.
Great, great.
okay, so thank you, Chairman. So from the first meeting, there were a couple items, I think, that the residents did have concern with, and, that's why the exhibit 5, we provided the full site plan, with the proposed grading and the improvements and the detention pond being sized, to the county stormwater ordinance for that, the property, so that indicates the actual location of the future stormwater facility. The existing facility will remain, under the old permit that was permitted, and all the stormwater keeps going east, from that point. The new pond, because of the grade of the drainage patterns, will sheet flow, back to the detention pond. Now, we'll have some storm sewers along the curb line. It's all fully paved parking lot with the curb and gutter. We'll discharge in the pond, and the discharge will be towards the existing wetland area in the corner here that's been delineated already by, and I believe reviewed by the stormwater department. So that's exhibit 5, that indicated, I think, one of the concern. The exhibit 6 is develop the landscaping and also probably shows the cleaner version of the actual parking lot, not including topography on it. And the one of the notes that we talked at the last meeting, that we're gonna provide the role of the taller varieties, we basically creating a barrier between the parking lot, the car lights, the parking lot lights, and the residents, down on the west side here.
Can you explain how tall those are?
So arborvitae's, the planting will be, I think they planted at 6 feet tall. And, mature height is 12 to 14 feet high. And again, the idea is to create a wall, basically at the end of the parking lot. And, that's on the backside where the detention pond is. This is gonna be the wetland type detention pond, with the natural plantings, which will match up with the wetland that's in the area and kind of blend in, to this area. And as far as the view and the look from the people, I mean, they'll see the nice, very similar, maintained pond that will be maintained by the lot owner. Also, we're proposing to add a couple trees on the gaps that, I think there's some brush and, garbage trees, and, we're just gonna replace with the good ones. That meets the county tree replacement, requirement, for the species. We just chatted a little bit, a couple trees of concern, one in the corner, this is proposed to stay. There's no grading or no activities in that area, so we'll try to maintain the healthy, good trees and I think that is question number 2 from the natives. And the lighting, the photometric, the KSA lighting company produced the photometric for us, photometric plan, and basically we have a 3 proposed light poles, those are 15 feet tall. So they're almost matching the arborvitae height, mature, in a couple years. And the other line will be installed by the existing detention pond. That I think there's some current lighting will be replaced just to match. So, these are the numbers that, like I said, provided, from the KSA company. In the meantime, I believe the owners met with the residents, and some of the lighting was already addressed with the dim the lights, and then I think the hours. So I think that the existing lighting has already been addressed too since last meeting. That was a concern that it keeps shining. So I don't know if we have one resident, if it's.
I didn't, I missed
Oh,
that
you
meeting.
missed that?
Nobody
Yeah, I
brought
just-
it to attention,
yeah. So-
Please don't interrupt him, because we gotta have a clean record here with only one person speaking at a time. Okay, go ahead.
So again, that's the modification and that's the plan, that we currently have. And this is for the back parking lot area. And, I don't know, I think those were 3 major concerns.
Okay, you indicated that you met with neighbors and you made some revisions. Were the revisions that you made to your plan discussed with neighbors?
I don't believe so.
But some of them.
So this
were.
is when they're,
No, so I did not discuss
okay,
myself.
how about the attorney resolves that question?
Yes, one of the members of the mosque did talk with some of the neighbors, not all of them, but to explain what was being done. And they were concerned, many of them were concerned about the parking lot lighting. And from that discussion, the mosque understood what their concerns were with the existing lighting, and that's been resolved. And the mosque has followed up with those neighbors to make sure that it's okay at this point.
Okay, the only reason I asked that question, I'm not suggesting that the neighbors get to decide this. I just want to know because it will affect any additional comment that I allow from public tonight. Because the rule is, you know, neighbors only get to speak once, and many of them have already spoken. So-
That's a question that's relevant to this.
Sure, yes.
Did you speak with Linda Painter, the president of the homeowners association? Did you include her in the meeting? She was here that night.
I know she was here that night. I did not know, I did not personally talk with her.
I saw them all give numbers. You guys are all exchanging information. That's very important from a homeowners, as you know, to have that discussion. Talking with a few neighbors is great, but I mean, she's gonna ask that question probably to me tomorrow. Cause they, you know, they'll reach out.
Okay, but it's not part of the hearing.
I get that,
And
but I'm
to
just
the
saying, I'm
extent that-
asking,
And
I know.
if you have a discussion tomorrow, you can't,
Well, I won't then, but my point is, it always comes back that the homeowners associations always should be involved. So I'm asking the question to her, because I'm not gonna have the conversation. She may call me, I won't take the call, but is she,
I think she may be on Zoom. Is she
I
on
don't
the
know,
board tonight?
but she's been involved in a number of
Okay, well, I'm sure,
hearings, so
she had to break.
can you please reach out to her?
She's on, no, hold on. She's on the phone.
Is
She's
she on
with
here?
us. Yeah, that's what our staff says.
Linda, are you on?
Okay, could we just go back? I mean, Ms. Painter, with all due respect, we'll hear from you to the extent you want to be heard from. Uh,
Is
And
she on?
then Ms. West, you want to continue?
Yes, thank you. Let me just put this down. So at the January 18th meeting, we did explain the project, and I would just ask that that be incorporated into the record tonight.
Okay, very good, thank you. Well, yeah, it's continued hearing, so
Okay.
the prior hearing record is part of the full record. Now, are there any questions from members of the board about this additional information? And is there anyone in the audience that wants to make public comment who did not speak at the last hearing? And no one on Zoom or present by telephone wants to speak or make comments? And for those of you who may have spoken at the last hearing, were there any representations about resolutions here that you disagree with? You know, as I said, the rule is you get to speak once, but if there's testimony which contradicts something that you have, I will allow you to speak briefly once more. Yeah, sir, what's your name?
My name is Craig Roner. I live at 10 South 311 Jamie Lane, Willowbrook, 60527. I
spoke at the
spoke last
last
week. I
hearing?
sure did, the last
Okay.
reading.
All right, hold on. I don't know if I'm gonna, I don't know how much leeway I'm gonna give you, but would you raise your hand and be sworn in?
You do solemnly swear affirm the testimony you're about to give at this cause now and hearing will be the truth, the whole truth and nothing but the truth.
I do.
All right, I don't want you to go over anything that you said last time, but if there's information that's been presented tonight that you disagree with, then you can speak about that.
I would just share with you, Chairman, that I was not involved as one of the homeowners in the meeting that was projected here this evening. That's my comment.
Okay? That's all?
That's all I have to say. I was not
Very
insulted.
good.
I was not concerned. I was not involved.
Okay, thank
I'd
you
like
very
to have
much.
been involved.
Any wrap up?
Unless you want me to review the standards for the granting of a variation.
You know, if there's anything comprehensive that you want to say with respect to any of the particular standards, or that you want to guide our thinking, please do so. But the notion for attorneys to say, please allow me to read the 7 standards, and tell you how we conform with all of them without something else is a little bit meaningless. So there's, you know, if there's anything particularly that you feel that you want to add, then go right ahead.
And I'd like to talk a little bit about the practical difficulty or particular hardship with this
Excellent.
property.
Excellent.
Yeah, and I think the practical difficulty or particular hardship is really with the previously made improvements to the property. And even the grade differential in the property. And when this property was developed in 2001, the minimum side yard setback requirement was 20 feet. If the 40-foot setback are maintained, then the parking lot will have to be expanded. You know, it will shrink and then it'll be expanded to the west. And with that, that will have a greater impact on the adjacent residential neighborhood. Also, there's only one access onto Route 83. In this revised site plan, there is now a circular driveway throughout the property with another access onto Route 83. What this does with the configuration, the driveways throughout the property now line up with each other. And this will provide better circulation for school buses, emergency vehicles, and other large vehicles. And it will allow for greater stacking for entrance and exiting. If we have to maintain the 40-foot setback, then this driveway will jog, and the effectiveness for navigation is diminished at that point. So I think, so that's what I'd like to just add about
Well,
that.
I'm very glad that you did. That's a critical point. All right, nothing from the board? Zane?
No questions, Chairman.
Then I'll close the record and close the hearing and close the record in this case, and we'll set the matter for our March 7 recommendation hearing, which will occur in this room at 5:30. So it's not necessary that you attend. You can attend by Zoom if it's more convenient. You won't take additional public testimony because, as I said, the record is closed as of the close of this hearing, but the board will deliberate about the case and various other cases, I think, and render our decision, which constitutes a recommendation to the County Development Committee. Then the Development Committee will confer and make their determination based on the, presumably based on the record, and then advance the matter to the full county board. That should occur later in the month of March. I don't know the dates right now, but it's highly likely that it will be resolved by, say, near the end of March. Okay, thank you very much.